So you may not be always ahead of the curve, but at least be on the curve.
You need to understand what skills you can transfer when you're pivoting.
People in UK, Australia, US, they are quite open to taking on people from completely different, tangential, job roles and opportunities as well.
10 people a year you connect with. That's all that matters.
No career is good or no career is bad. It's what you make out of it.
Be curious, be hungry, be ready to do more and less.
Hi, welcome to the last part of this series now. And आज हम लोग डिस्कस कर रहे हैं how to plan your career in long term. Career planning is very, very crucial. And in fact, the way things are, career plan करना important है. At least you should chart your journey कि कहाँ जाना है, क्या करना है life में. Now, long term, of course, हर एक का perspective अलग हो सकता है. For probably a younger professional, long term could be 5 years, 10 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
For a leader, it could be just 5 years because they're towards the end of their career, and 5 years, 10 years, they end their career as well. One thing I wanted to understand from you is how do I make sure? And life is getting more difficult now because पहले बहुत easy था. You could literally plan your career in a very easy way, but the way tech and AI is changing the game, it's very difficult to gauge कि 5 साल बाद क्या relevant रहेगा.
Correct.
Will my job even exist after 5 years? So just wanted to understand from your perspective, how does one gauge their plan and where they're heading? So 5 years, 10 years, what skills would be relevant? How should one plan their career journey first of all?
So, planning about the career journey. So, I'll break it up for freshers and for experienced folks.
Sure.
ठीक है. Freshers के लिए for the next, I would say 5 years. If you're starting your journey now, you need to master the art of adaptability. Especially in the IT industry, things are changing rapidly. Taking an example of AI is changing at a much faster rate than we could even imagine. Like AI was required yesterday. That's how fast it is changing. So master the art of adaptability. Like you need to be ready to learn and unlearn quickly. Like कल रात को जो पढ़ा था आज सुबह शायद अनलर्न करना पड़े आपको क्योंकि नया टेक्नोलॉजी आ गया.
Correct.
ठीक है. अभी कल ही आई वाज जस्ट लुकिंग इन द न्यूज़, चैट जीपीटी का एक नया वर्जन है, गिबली स्टाइल फोटोज वो रिलीज करता है. ठीक है. तो अभी तक चैट जीपीटी आप इसके लिए यूज करते थे, आपका खुद का फोटो भी जिबली स्टाइल वो कार्टून जैसा फोटो आ जाएगा.
Correct.
ठीक है. तो वो हो गया फॉर द मास्टरिंग द आर्ट ऑफ एडेप्टेबिलिटी, मास्टरिंग द आर्ट ऑफ लर्निंग एज वेल. Like I said, quickly learn and learn. उसके लिए freshers, I mean, if whoever is starting the journey now, they need to be completely open with it. कि रात को एक आया कुछ नया, सुबह दूसरा कुछ. So be ready to learn and unlearn. Talking about the professional folks में you need to number one identify कि 3 years is, for example, 5 years down the line, what skills would be relevant. IT से specific, anything like big data, maybe data scientist हो गया आपका. AI is definitely there. Then you have all the different verticals of sustainable energy. आपका solar energy हो गया, wind energy हो गया, electric EVs हो गया. ये सारा next 5 years तक रहेगा. So renewable energy is expected to grow up to 60% by 2030. AI itself will become more than $1 trillion market by 2030.
Correct.
So these are the skills that you can go up to. Solar energy is expected to grow by almost 28 to 30% by 2030. So these are the trends, in the next 3 to 5 years that you could think of, maybe streamlining. Another thing would be, cyber security, cyber law.
Oh yeah.
Since everything is moving up to online, अभी से जो cyber security के courses है, start getting into it. It would not take you, maybe a good amount of time to complete it. Start getting into cyber security. One piece of advice, like every birthday pay, you gift maybe yourself or your family member something new. Gift yourself a new certificate course. आपके पास पूरा साल होता है अगले बर्थडे तक करने के लिए. Plan it your way.
Yeah, and in fact, we touched upon courses as well.
Yes.
And I think the great point you guys made is do relevant courses rather
Yes.
than doing like the quality matters more than the quantity.
Quantity,
That's
absolutely.
for sure.
Yeah.
And great point that you're mentioning कि pivot करना possible है with tech.
Yep.
And I think the way courses are, how digital is, it's just easier to do courses. You don't have to go to a college now physically.
Yes,
So
yes.
online everything is available. But is it easy to pivot careers? Like you were mentioning that a lot of non-IT professionals also join IT companies in the strategy and business department because that's like the easy way in.
Correct.
You don't need to have like hardcore technical knowledge there. But is it easy to pivot careers, and any industries that are easy to pivot into?
Yes.
So maybe your perspective.
So the easiness of the pivoting depends on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm because this gets discussed quite often. I've coined an acronym. You need to be a CAT. CAT. You need to be curious, aware, and train yourself accordingly.
Yeah.
Then pivoting is easy.
Yeah.
So you may not be always ahead of the curve, like what he was saying in terms of what's happening next 5 years, etc. But at least be on the curve.
Yeah.
You can't be behind the curve.
Yes.
Yeah.
True.
If you're behind the curve, pivoting is going to be difficult.
That's
Correct.
worse.
Because-
Pivot kya? Matlab, you can't even stay in your lane.
Correct.
You
Yeah.
need to understand what skills you can transfer when you're pivoting. So you need. There's a lot of introspection that's required. Okay, out of the 10 skills that I have, 2 I can. If I'm planning to move, say from recruitment, say to a tech guy, or to a strategist, or to a non-tech guy, what skills can I take over, and how can I hone those skills over the period of time? So you need to do a lot of introspection there while you're deciding to pivot your career.
But
See, what I feel is when I started my journey, right, in this corporate world, few instances where people saw the potential in me. I knew, of course, I had the potential in me, but the leaders spotted the potential in me and they offered me some roles that I had never played earlier. And that was completely stepping out of my comfort zone and getting into an unknown, right? See, most often than not, most of the people would have said no. But I, being an opportunist, I've said everything. I've said yes to everything that have come my way, and that's how I've been able to pivot and move up the value chain.
Yeah.
I think more than the trends, as Advait mentioned, that it's mostly dependent on you, whether how do you pivot,
Yeah.
accept, adapt, and then evolve for every role or industry or journey. It really depends on you.
But are the companies, are the recruiters willing to happily accept people from, so to say, outsiders then?
Again, depends on what region, what industry, what area do you come into. Now, since I work with a lot of global companies, now people in UK, Australia, US, they are quite open to taking on people from completely different, tangential, job roles and opportunities as well. So I have today employees working in my UK region who were chefs earlier, and now
Wow.
they're working in IT,
Wow.
right? Who were doing completely something else, like a music jockey.
Yeah, not
And
at all
now,
related.
exactly, and now into IT. So it depends on how the openness or the adaptiveness is and how you're willing to
See,
put them
also-
through. Because some regions and people are very open to diverse perspectives
Yes.
and backgrounds.
Yeah.
And some people are very adamant and hell-bent that he or she should be having this kind of experience and only this much
Yeah.
I'll be able to
Poor
coach. And
expertise
I
and
don't want
poor,
to...
matlab,
See, there are
Exactly.
some industries who actually, I'm going to sort of go on a limb here, who believe or want to believe that
Correct.
they're so unique.
Yes.
And one of them is BFSI.
Yes.
If you're not in that industry, it's an old boys network.
Correct.
Yeah.
Then
Correct.
an outsider getting into a BFSI
Yeah.
is very difficult.
Yeah.
And I don't see any reason why not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any reason why
But
not?
they believe we are different.
Correct.
Yeah, quoting another example here. So my experience from the working with the manufacturing industry. So they do not prefer anybody from the automobile industry. For example, there's something called as forging. Wherein you forge a metal into say maybe a big cast iron or something. A big nut bolt or something. So they don't prefer. The reason why they don't prefer from people from automobile industry is because वहाँ पे forging का जो item होता है, ऑटोमोबाइल इज मोस्टली कार्स और ट्रक्स और वो सब.
Yeah.
तो उनके जो आइटम्स भी होते हैं फोर्ज करने के लिए वो छोटे छोटे होंगे जो मोस्टली मैक्स 100-200 केजीज के होंगे. वेयरएज जो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इंडस्ट्री में होता है स्पेसिफिकली फॉर विंड एनर्जी, वहाँ पे एक नट बोल्ट ही 600 किलो का होता है. इतना बड़ा नट बोल्ट होता है वो. ठीक है, आई मीन
Correct.
ये पूरे स्पेस जितना बड़ा होता है.
Correct.
सो मे बी ऑटोमोबाइल इंडस्ट्री वाले को उतना एक्सपोजर नहीं होता है.
हाँ.
दैट इज वाई दे डोंट प्रेफर. जस्ट द फ्लिप साइड ऑफ इट कि ऑटोमोबाइल वाला अगर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में आने देखेगा तो उसको, क्योंकि उसको उतना एक्सपर्टीज नहीं है, उसने उतने बड़े स्केल पे कभी काम नहीं किया है
Correct.
वैसा.
Correct. Interesting. Now, I mean, that's again a part of research that you find out such companies that are open to such
Open to it.
perspectives.
Exactly.
No, but
Yeah.
Areas.
nowadays, Anirudh, I see a lot of people embracing the fact that, a content writer trying to get into data analyst roles, right? Just because they have a creative flair or side to it. And I can, analyze data, I can plot data on a graph or a dashboard, and I can, draw some inferences out of it. Right? So a lot of people are making these shifts, paradigm shifts, but people who are very true to themselves, who know themselves in and out, and they know to what extent they can, accept, adapt, and evolve. So it really depends on the individual or the personality who are, ready to make the shifts.
Then you also need to market, just to take your example forward, that as a content creator first, now if I want to get into data science, what is the extra edge I'm going to
Correct.
bring to this
Correct.
job?
Yeah.
Correct.
Which are otherwise, like to like may not have.
Correct. Yeah.
That's how you need to market your CV and market your profile.
Yeah, just adding another example to them. So one of my very close friend, he actually did, pivoted his career from being into call center. Right now, he's working as an IT professional, and the skill that he leveraged. Not all the developers can speak fluent English, but BPO में आप एकदम fluent English बात करते थे. तो उसको starting से ही, very quickly within the, I think 2 years into coding and all, he got a client facing role because he was able to talk very fluently.
That's a
So that's
great
how
point.
people have
Yeah.
pivoted their career.
कि एक कुछ तो भी trump card use करो
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
to
Yeah,
get that
yeah.
pivot done.
Yeah,
Literally
yeah.
the pivot.
Yeah.
हाँ.
So that's definitely there. Interesting. And I think another aspect that people miss out on is having a great mentor.
Yeah.
Yes.
वो थोड़ा culture अभी अभी आने लगा है.
Yes.
And especially,
Correct.
of course, senior leaders start talking about it, so it trickles down as well.
Yeah.
कि have a
Yeah.
great mentor, have someone who's guiding you. And of course, I think coach and mentor are two different things completely.
They
so
are, yeah.
चलो ठीक है, coach के बारे में कभी बाद में discuss करेंगे. But how does one find a mentor? Let's assume that I'm a 25-year-old. Let's assume. But
Yeah, we can see that.
Yeah.
but the channel is watched by 25, 30-year-olds. How do I find a mentor? Whom do I reach out to first of all? How do I first scouting for this one person?
So mentor need not necessarily be in your group, or for that matter even in your company.
Correct.
Somebody whom you can reach out to and clearly has much more experience than what
Yeah.
you have.
Yeah.
You also need to be clear, what are you looking for in a mentor?
Yeah.
What do you want from them?
What do you want from that? And then identify that kind of person. Need not necessarily be in your company. If it's the same company, great, but I would then still suggest not in your line of
Correct.
work.
Yeah.
Your boss will always be a mentor. But if you're looking for a mentor, it can't be your boss or your skip level boss.
Yeah, because their perspective is biased and limited.
yeah.
So correct. Actually, it's a great thing. Ki look for someone outside.
Look for someone outside, and then for that you need to network a lot.
Yeah.
Because you need to know what are you looking for in a mentor.
Correct.
It could be your soft skills, your technical skills, or the way you conduct or present yourself, or how do you move up the value chain, or what is it that you're looking for in a mentor. And likewise, a mentor is also equally excited to have a mentee.
Correct.
Right, so it really depends on, and again, not having from your own circle, all the more merrier and better.
Like she said, you can't be in a club here where that your mentor is not accepted you as a mentor.
Correct.
हाँ वो भी है यार.
Equal acceptance.
Yeah.
10 बार LinkedIn invites भेजते
And
हो.
it has to be a
So,
win-win situation for both of them, where
Correct.
even the mentor sees the merit in the mentee, that he is willing to go that extra mile above and beyond. And
that's also limited, no? Ki,
Yeah.
like, why do I don't want to waste my time on
Exactly.
people. So that's
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
limited
It's a
perspective.
voluntary
that people
thing,
have.
right? So
Yeah.
even that senior person
Yeah,
mentor
yeah,
should see merit.
merit,
Why
and
should
the
I?
mentor should also see the spark
Yeah.
in the mentee, right?
And don't just do it virtually. Don't just message anyone on LinkedIn that
Yeah.
I want you to be a mentor.
Cold email.
Make sure that you meet that have that in-person meeting. Take their cognizance as well. That would you like to be, and don't do it in the first meeting itself. At least have a second meeting and then tell them that what do you look into them, and the guidance that you're looking. Take their cognizance, and then that's how you go ahead with mentor and mentorship.
I think the common problem is people who are reached out to for mentorship advice would be all LinkedIn toppers.
Yes.
Right, that's a problem as well, because
Yeah.
that person probably has their hands full and probably
Correct.
don't have one but probably 10 mentees.
Mm-hmm.
And
No,
they're going
I'll-
to say no to you.
Yeah.
So,
I'll give you a classic example, because I've done a lot of these sessions. I've been on the board of multiple other groups, right? Places where I've been as a panel or a speaker, and then people who have listened to me, they reach out to me afterwards, after the fact, and they just write a one-liner cold email or a message saying that, I want your guidance in so and so. Or sometimes they'll not even reveal the entire context, just hi ma'am or hi Supriya. But beyond that, what? Because I don't have all the liberty and the free time in the world to reply to each and every email or message, right? See, you have to be concise, clear, and succinct in your ask as well. That what are you looking from me? And why should I mentor you in the first place?
Correct.
Because say you are good in so and so, but you're lacking here, and you see the merit. If I come from the same background, or I've come from the same situation, or we both have sailed in the same boats, and since I have been lucky enough to find the right mentor at the right time, you see the same merit if you could get that right mentorship in the right time place.
So true.
So reaching out with the right context, messaging, narrative is also extremely important, and those cold emails and messages don't help these days.
Yeah.
Just a friend's anecdote actually. She came from a small town, came to Pune and has done very well for herself, kind of thing. She was speaking at this thing, and exactly like you said, she got these LinkedIn, and one of the things caught her attention because this girl said, "I am also in a situation which you were, say, 20 years
Correct.
ago,
Exactly.
and therefore I want to
Exactly.
seek your
Exactly.
guidance."
So
Now
I used
something
to,
like that, it will bring.
I know.
Yeah.
I used to head pre-sales for one of my previous organizations, and for pre-sales, right, we are always on the lookout for customers. So one of my inside sales teams, they said that, "Ma'am, we are trying to maybe bombard this customer for so long when we are not getting a positive reply. We have tried all different means, techniques, whatever." So I said, "What kind of research have you done on the user persona?" And they said that we have looked up her Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn profiles, and this and that. I said, "Show me." So on one of the Facebook posts, and many of her posts were with her pet. So she was a pet mom. And I was like, the next email outreach that you do, you also say that you have a lab and share a picture of you and your lab as well. And nothing to do with your ask or cold call or first invite or meeting or technical details. Just say that what are you doing with your pet, and my pet is going through this and this, and I would like to take your advice. And the moment she hit the send button, the second minute the reply came from our potential customer, and then we got her converted as a customer, and now she's giving us repeat business.
Lovely.
Right.
Lovely.
So humans connect with humans with emotions. So
Yeah.
ethos and pathos, right? So you have to connect on a certain level in order to get something from there.
Absolutely. And I think networking is such a crucial part, and the way you network is also very important.
The way you network and
Yeah.
the way you research about the individual or the user persona,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
Say if I am a family woman and I'm too much into my kids, I'm a hands-on mom. So if you reply to me with certain text or email relating to that, I'll be intrigued to know more, and okay, this guy or this girl has researched me. They know well about me for me to be their mentor, and let me again, just reply to them. It may or may not work out, but at least that conversation will happen.
See, for most people, networking means I attend a conference.
Correct.
I have a box full of greeting cards and tuck, tuck, tuck.
Tuck, tuck, tuck. Yeah.
Have I finished my cards, and do I have a box full of other
Full of
cards?
Correct.
cards.
And even LinkedIn invites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
sending
After the
being
conference, you'll
connected on
have-
LinkedIn is
That's it.
networking.
Yeah.
Correct. So I think
But people miss out on the most important part is that, for example, I know you, but as a matter of fact, do you know me?
Correct.
People only send a LinkedIn request without
Yeah.
even checking or random thing, and then they just forget, okay, I know this person. But then it's vice versa. It should always be a two-way street.
Yeah.
It should not be a one-way street.
I always joke, I know PM Modi. Unfortunately, he doesn't know me. So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
absolutely. And I think overall, the key term is relationship.
Yeah.
Irrespective of how you get started digitally, you meet them in person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that relationship matters. And I give a number of 10. 10 people a year you connect with. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right? And build relationship with those 10 people. You
Correct.
could
Yes.
have 100 new connections on LinkedIn,
Correct.
Correct.
but it's those 10 people you need to identify.
Meaningful
Meaningful
connections.
relationship. And there has to be an equal amount of give and take.
Yeah, absolutely.
See, even on LinkedIn, connection does not mean if somebody, if I'm connected to you and I want to be friends with you,
Correct.
and eventually, with a business objective
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
Correct.
I go through a pet, but now I finally want business with him.
Yeah.
It's not a question of you do something, I just put a thumbs up or a
Yeah.
like or whatever.
Yeah.
It has to be give and take.
And it's not always I scratch your back and you scratch
Yeah.
mine. There has to be something meaningful for both the parties.
But मैं वही बोल रहा हूँ ना, आजकल का LinkedIn invites are also useless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what, you connect with a person. Say, for example, you connect with them on LinkedIn and you catch up on a phone call. And they say, hey, I see like these 5 mutual connections. How do you know this person? They're like, no, some
I don't
random
know.
person who
Random.
just added me to my
Yeah.
network.
Yeah.
I'm like, then what's the point in having those people in your network?
Correct.
So I've literally started. So in fact, I've disabled that connect wala button these days.
Acha.
Oh,
Not that I want to act pricey,
Correct.
but the problem is people connect and don't even say hello.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right. So if I'm connecting with a senior person, I will make sure that I connect with them and say,
See, the
drop
moment
a
you
message.
get a message that this person has accepted your request, at least एक message भेजो कि thanks for the connect.
Yeah.
Correct.
But even
Yeah.
senior people don't respond.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
यार इतना क्या you're
Yeah,
short of time
yeah.
that to not even say hi, hello, or
Correct,
thanks for
correct.
connecting. But and so I used to.
So it's better to follow people rather than connect if you don't have, So follow, if you follow senior leaders, you'll at least get their post notifications.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very weird. And just like because we are on LinkedIn, please, when you send a message on LinkedIn, please don't just say hi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, exactly. I was telling,
That's
right?
the
Hi,
worst.
ma'am. Hi, Supriya. That's
Bas
it.
chhod diya.
No context at all.
Correct.
Even during our regular office connects on Slack or Teams or message invites, if if we are working in multiple geographies, multiple time zones, so hi. Until and unless the other person responds hi or yes, I'll not give the context. So this is utter.
I'll tell you.
You should give the full context in that first
Then and
message
there.
itself, even if the person is sleeping
Yeah.
on the other end. When he
Yeah.
wakes up, at least he'll have the context.
I'll tell you what's worse than hi.
Yeah.
The next message, how are you?
Yeah.
How are you? Point पे आना यार. क्या
Exactly.
चाहिए तेरे को?
Exactly. Point
Correct.
पे आओ. Yeah.
So I'll tell you the template as well. Of course, greet the person. Who are you? What do you want? And what's the call to action you're
Correct.
expecting from
Yeah,
the other
yeah.
person?
Yeah.
Just mention
Yeah.
that.
And how
Keep it
urgent
short.
it is.
Yeah.
How,
Don't write an essay, please.
Exactly.
And if you've already met some person, give that context that we met at
यहाँ
this
पे मिलेंगे.
particular conference, or maybe we met
Yeah.
at this particular
Correct.
conclave or
Correct.
anything.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Absolutely.
Unless you're working in the same organization and you meet everyone daily, that is a different case.
Yeah.
But if it's one-off, please mention the context.
But from a career planning perspective, networking is important.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Very,
Oh,
very
yeah,
important.
very much. In fact, career, even business. I
Yeah.
think, network brings you business and network gets you your next job.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
For sure.
Yes.
For sure. For sure.
And I think.
In fact, if your network is not getting you the next job, then you are not in the good, right network.
Right network.
I 100%.
So true.
After a certain experience and position in your life, your next job should always come through references in network, not
And-
through applications.
Yeah.
And I use this one line that Raman Nanda, who had come on the podcast as well, he had also mentioned 99% of the decisions about you are made in rooms where you're not present.
Yeah.
Yes.
So your next job is being decided by people who are in your network and they're
Correct.
deciding कि इसको hire करना है कि नहीं करना है,
Yes.
फिर, should we reach out to
Yes,
this person?
Yes.
So that's for sure. Towards the last part of our conversation, I'm very curious to know two things. One is working in startups versus working in big corporates. What's easier? What's better? Who should work in a startup? Who should look for big corporate jobs? What is your perspective?
See, I have had the privilege to work in startups. I've had the privilege to head startups. I've also had the privilege to work in large conglomerates, businesses of multi-billion-dollar revenue services as well as revenue as well as valuation. So, see, my take is when you're working in a large MNC, a large corporate, right, you are just dedicated to some piecemeal activities. So you don't get the entire big picture, right?
You're
And-
literally in that small silo and you're just doing the
small
same thing.
siloed, and you will be, a subject matter expert basically in that, and you will grow in and around that, but you will not have the entire broader horizontal view. In a startup, on the other hand, you will have the privilege to be working and seeing across functions, be it operations, admin, legal, finance, delivery, technology, engineering, whatsoever, even the founder's office, right? But again, the flip side of startup is it's a VUCA world where it's volatile, ambiguous, nothing is certain. If there is an investor pressure, funding pressure, and you don't know where it's heading on towards. So a lot of those pressures as well. And then startups have to be nimble and agile at the same time,
Yeah.
because you will have to wear multiple hats. You will have to don multiple hats, play multiple roles. So it really takes a toll, on you. Whereas again, if you're taking the flip side on the corporates, CMMI level 4, 5 company, there will be a lot of SOPs, processes, bureaucratic, democratic kind
Lot
of
of
rules.
politics.
And, a lot of politics and processes. If file will move from pillar to post, and a lot of approvals, workflows, business automation, so on and so forth. So there are flip side, positive advantages and disadvantages in both working in startups and large MNCs. But if you want to get a view of how to run your own company, how to be a founder yourself, I think starting and working in a startup is the best place to be.
Correct.
So it depends from career to career,
Yeah.
just adding to what she said, career to career. For my perspective, that's what I always keep telling the students during my campus placements, that if you want to start your first job, it should never be a big company. It should always be either a mid-sized company or a startup.
Or startup.
Because that's where you get to expand your horizon. Because nowadays kids, especially 23 to 30 years of bracket, they want to do everything of everything. But when you go for everything of everything, you don't get the depth of it. Especially when you work in big conglomerates, because वहाँ पे standard SOPs होते हैं कि आपको ऐसे ही चलना है. अगर आपको एक नया फॉर एग्जांपल लैपटॉप का मेमोरी कार्ड, आपको रैम चाहिए, रेज अ रिक्वेस्ट, रीच आउट टू दिस टीम, ये टीम यहाँ से ये करेगा, ये करेगा, ये करेगा.
Yeah.
ठीक है, एज कम्पेयर टू मिड साइज आपको सब खुद से करना पड़ता है.
Everything is faster as well.
या सो अगर आपको
Faster.
डेप्थ चाहिए इन दैट लिमिटेड अमाउंट ऑफ टाइम, वेयर आपको अगर प्रिंट आउट के लिए भी खुद उठ के भागना पड़ेगा, प्रिंटर खराब हो गया तो अंदर से पेपर भी खींच के निकालना पड़ेगा,
Correct.
ऐसा. सो अगर आपको वो सब कुछ चाहिए, डेप्थ चाहिए कम टाइम में, सो गो फॉर अ मिड साइज और अ स्टार्टअप.
So that's where the nimbleness and agility
Yeah.
comes in.
No, I want less work and more salary. Tell me you.
I have a slightly different view. I look at it as experience versus exposure.
या
Like she said, in a startup, I get वो एक टाटा इंडिका का एड था, more car per car. So in the same 2 years of experience in a startup,
Yeah.
2
Yeah.
years is 2 years for you and me.
Yeah.
But what I do, what I get exposed to in that 2 years is
absolutely.
much more in a
Yeah,
startup than in a large company.
Definitely 2++.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would still say the experience in a large company matters, because that's where
Definitely.
you'll learn
Yes.
processes.
Yeah.
हाँ.
How
So that is what
things
I
work,
mentioned. Yeah, processes.
Yes.
how things work, because that's what you want to eventually come to.
Yeah. Correct.
Startup is a chaotic world,
Yeah.
but it can't remain chaotic for long.
Correct.
Correct.
Eventually, there has to be some method in the madness.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you know the end game there,
Yeah.
because you worked in a larger company,
Yes.
then you come here. Don't
Yeah.
work for too long in a large company,
Yeah.
because then it becomes very
Correct.
difficult.
But एक बार,
But
like,
you
once
do-
you get
you
used
need
to the
to have
salaries
the-
there.
No, but
It's
that's
tough.
no. When you join a startup, that's a conscious call you're doing.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah, you're saying
So,
I'm sacrificing my lifestyle, salary, etc., because I want that exposure.
So in a
No,
way,
but
can I-
whatever being said and done, Anirudh, I think you need to have a flavor of best of both the worlds.
Best
Both
of
the
both
worlds.
worlds. Yeah,
Right.
that's what I'm saying.
Both the worlds.
So
yeah.
try doing it this way. Maybe people can do it this way. Big company, mid size या startup, big company, mid size या startup. ताकि अगर आप big company में जो SOP सीखे, you can add a lot of great value to the mid size or a startup company, because you know you've done that. तो उसके लिए क्या करना पड़ेगा, आप पूरा reverse engineering करके उसका SOP set
Correct.
करो. Then you again go to the big company because you've done that. वहाँ से कुछ
large-
नया सीखो, वापस कुछ करो.
Correct.
So that's how your graph should be.
So as I mentioned, right, large companies, CMMI level 4, level
Yeah,
5,
yeah.
their processes are all sacrosanct.
Correct.
SOPs, standard operating procedures, it's all process driven and not people driven.
Correct.
एंड बिग कंपनी स्मॉल कंपनी आप करोगे ना, तो वहां पे आपका एडेप्टेबिलिटी भी सामने आ जाएगा कि यू आर क्विकली एडेप्टेबल. सो फॉर मी व्हेनेवर आई हायर समवन एट लीडरशिप रोल, आई नेवर लुक एट अ करियर ग्राफ जो सिर्फ ऐसा जा रहा है. दैट इज वेरी डेंजरस, बिकॉज उसने फेलियर कभी देखा नहीं होगा. ठीक है, बट एज कम्पेयर टू समवन बिग कंपनी, स्मॉल कंपनी, ठीक है, ऐसा करके जो ऊपर बढ़ता है ना, सो दैट इज, उसने फेलियर भी देखा है, फेलियर एक्सेप्ट भी किया है, फेलियर में से बाहर आके हाथ पैर भी मारे हैं, एंड देन दे हैव बीन सक्सेसफुल. वैसा.
Interesting. Because I had of course, it's a limited generalized perspective, is spend your first half of your career in startups.
Yeah.
Or mid-level companies. It doesn't. I mean, startups is a very raw word actually.
Correct.
So
Mid-level
maybe small
companies.
companies, well.
Small
Small
mid-size.
mid-level companies, yeah.
mid-sized
SMB
companies.
market, yeah.
Then take it easy.
Yeah.
Go to corporates. Teach others what you have learned, and then
Correct.
of
Yep.
course enjoy
Absolutely.
the benefits with
Yeah.
perks and salaries as well.
Yeah.
So that's
Yep.
also there.
Or the other way around.
Yeah.
Because in your initial part of your career, that money in the bank is important for you.
Correct.
Of course, of
Because
course,
you
of
have to
course.
set your career,
Correct.
etc.,
Yeah.
etc.
Correct.
You can do the. I mean, in business,
Correct.
there's no right answer, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
See,
No, fair point. That's a good point.
when you do what is not important, it's important to get
How?
the best of both the worlds, that you have done and worked in both MNCs and startups.
See, what you do is also important. I can work for 5 years in a large company and not learn anything.
Learn
Not
anything.
learn anything.
फिर
Absolutely.
क्या
Yeah.
फायदा है?
हाँ वो भी है, थोड़ा बहुत limited सीखने मिलता है, so that's also there. But what you do after 9 to 5 is also
Correct.
very important.
Yes.
What you do between 5 to 9
Yeah.
is what decides your
Correct.
trajectory in the coming years. So that's
Yes.
also there. Fantastic. I think this was a great day well spent creating this series of 5 episodes, and I'm assuming this will bring a lot of value to
We hope so
everyone.
too.
Definitely.
Maybe
yeah.
on a parting note, just one brief advice from each of you. One advice that you'd like to give to people watching this.
For me, no career is good or no career is bad. It's what you make out of it.
For me, I think it would be curious, be hungry, and be ready to do more and less.
Lovely.
For me, be adaptable, be honest. If you've done it, you've done it. If you've not done it, ask that if given an opportunity, can I will be definitely ready to do it, and also so that show that zest for self learning, that I'm ready to go for the next level. I will do the self learning that is required.
Yep, absolutely.
Honesty and truthfulness वापस इधर भी आया.
Correct, of course.
It has to be there.
Yeah, my advice is listen to them. And I think one important thing is, of course, do great work, but also you need to understand and you need to learn the art of marketing yourself as
Yeah.
well.
Yes.
Be it in your current job, be it on your resume,
Yeah,
during your
personal
negotiations.
branding. Personal branding is
Personal
very
branding
important.
is very, very important, right? Jungle mein मोर नाचा किसने देखा, right?
Correct.
So that's how it is. But fantastic. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for
Thank you
having
so
us.
Thank you for
much.
Yeah.
having
Yeah.
us. Yeah.
Awesome. So that's all with this series now. I hope ये 5 episodes जो थे आपके लिए बहुत useful रहे. And of course, the podcast carries on. We'll see you in the next one. Make sure you subscribe. अगले episode में मिलते हैं.